Dear students, so in your next chapter, that is chapter 2, managerial functions, now we will be continuing with your next topic. Your next topic is methods. Okay, now under your methods is nothing but it is the next continuation part. Okay, it is a continuation part of the types of plans. Now under your types of plan, your next thing is methods. Now what is method? Method is nothing but a detail, okay, a detail about a particular operation or activity. Basically they tell you in which manner the operation has to be performed. In it is basically a method. As you say, for example, it is a method of doing things, right? It is a method, or it gives you a detailed information as to how you need to go about doing things. Okay, it is defined. Methods can be defined as manual or mechanical means for performing. Okay, methods can be maybe viewed as specific, more detailed and rational means of simplifying, standardizing work. Okay, this is method. Now next, what is the definition of method? Now looking at the definition of method, it says according to George R. Terry and Stephen G. Franklin defines method as a prescribed manner for performing a given task with adequate consideration of the objective, facilities available with a total expenditure. Okay, now from this above definition we get to know that you have method is nothing but it is a prescribed manner of doing a particular thing. It could be a task, it could be an event or anything with adequate consideration, wherein you need to keep in mind what is your objective, what are the resources which are available to you. Now what is the expense that you will incur, what is the amounts of what is the time you will require to do that particular thing, what is the money that you require, and how much effort do you require that needs to be put in. This is method. Okay, now let's look into the next thing. Next is rules. Now what are rules? Rules are nothing but the rules and regulations, right? As we all know, it is nothing but how you need to you will be given a set of rules and regulations, basically how you need to go stepwise in order to do a particular task or event. Okay, it is basically how you need to operate in an orderly way. Now next is meaning of rules. Now rules are plain as they are laid down required course of action with respect to a given situation. Other words, rules are established principle for carrying out the activities in a systematic manner. In short, rules means they are prescribed behavior of the people in the particular organization. This is all you need to know about rules. For example, no smoking. If you are in a particular organization, they are telling no smoking, that means you do not have to smoke in that particular part. Okay, where you need to follow the rules and regulations. Next is strategies. Now what is strategy? Strategy is nothing but a plan. It is a plan of action which gives you direction. Okay, a strategy is action plan which sets the direction of that the company will be taking. It will guide you. Strategy is nothing but how you can be better than your competitor, how effectively you can do your work. Okay, how greatly you can do your work, how you can cut down your cost, how you can increase your market share. Okay, these are strategies. Strategies are nothing but it is a kind of plans. Okay, it is an action plan which will give you the direction to the company as to how they need to take about choices and how they need to achieve their goals and objective. Next, you have definition of strategy. Now, definition of strategy according to R.N. Anthony, strategy is the process of defining the objectives of the organization. Basically, here it is a process of defining the objectives of the organization. You are defining the objectives of the organization. Next, you have characteristics of strategy. Now, the characteristics are very self-explanatory. Okay, wherever explanation is required, I will help you all with it. Okay, now characteristics of strategy is basically they are guidelines to handle a specific problem. Okay, they basically give you instructions and they guide you to how to solve a particular problem. Okay, they involve the finding out of a judicious combination of human resource and physical resource to be used for achieving the objective of the organization. Okay, basically they will tell you how you need to use your human resource and how you need to use your other resources in order to achieve your objectives of the organization. Next, they are formulated to meet business contingencies such as challenges of the policies adopted by the competitors, the forces operating in the industry, the general forces operating in the country. Basically, they will tell you as to what are the problems and how you need to overcome these particular problems. Okay, it also involves taking into consideration your external environment. Now, as I've always been telling you all, external environment, your social, political, legal, okay, all of these factors which will actually interrupt your business. So it takes into consideration this also, your external environment also, and also helps in formulation of strategies to avoid any such problem from the external environment also. Next, our strategies depend on external and internal business factors, okay, environment factors, which is not static but continuously changing. See, factors are something that you cannot take into control. It is something that keeps continuously fluctuating. They're dynamic, they are not static, okay. So in order to cope up with this changing environment, you need to have effective strategies so that your business is not affected drastically, okay. Now, our strategies are much important for successful functioning of an organization. That are generally formulated at top management and delegated at lower levels of management, okay. Basically, they are, whatever decisions regarding strategies are taken is taken by the top management themselves. Next is types of strategy. Now, what are the types of strategy? Types of strategy according to Steiner and Minner. Strategies can be classified into the following types, okay. First is master strategies, second is program strategies, okay. Next, you have sub strategies or minor strategies. Now let's look into what is master strategies. Now your master strategy is basically, it is see, every company will have necessary objectives, right? And you need to give, okay, as you all know, every company has a particular objective, their profit motive objective, okay. You need to have a particular direction. Now your strategy will give you a direction as to how you need to achieve these particular objectives and how you need to master yourself, okay, because there's a lot of competition going on. So example, your master strategies can be done for in various areas like marketing, finance, production. Now in marketing, how you can improvise your advertisement. In finance, basically how you can bring down your cost and increase your profits and increase your market share. In your production, as to how effectively you can produce a large number of quality goods, okay, all of that. Now for example, a master strategy for the field of marketing may be to enter into a new market with the objective of capturing 15% of the market within a particular year. Okay, these could be your master strategies. Next is your program strategies. Now your program strategies are basically more specific and they refer to specific deployment of resource, okay, to achieve organizational purposes. Now program strategy is basically only for a particular program. It could be either for finance, it could be either for marketing, okay, it could be only for a particular thing. That is you take into consideration your program strategy. Now a program strategy could either be for extensive advertising and intensive personal selling. Campaign may be decided to enable the organization to achieve its master strategy. And whatever your program strategies are, your program strategies should also help you in achieving your master strategies, okay. Next is your sub strategies or minor strategies. Your sub strategies or minor strategy are basically for sub areas, okay, sub areas of making decision. That is, if you have to take into small decision making, if you have small resources or specific objectives that are not overall important to an organization, these strategies can be employed. Basically, finance department wants to achieve a particular goal, so these are sub strategies or minor strategies which will not employ in the entire organization. So these were your strategies, these were the types of strategies, okay. Next, you have benefits of standing plan. Now what are the benefits of standing plan? In your benefits of standing plan, you have efficiency, delegation of authority, control and coordination. Your efficiency is nothing but how efficient you are in order to give your instructions, your operations, your policy, procedures, okay. How your instructions are determined by the top management, how they're followed by the organization, how is your organization very flexible in order to bring about changes. All of this, we've already discussed all of this in the previous chapters, okay. Next is delegation of authority. It is how you divide your authority, how you appoint various people for different positions, how you delegate your authority in your top, middle and low level management. Next is control, how you control through your methods, your procedures, your strategies, okay. How effectively you have a control over your operations of the organization. Next is coordination, how you coordinate your cooperation, coordination, your planning, organization, how you coordinate your various activities is what is about your standing plans. How you coordinate your plans along with your objectives, along with your strategies, along with your cooperation, coordination and everything which you have involved in the particular organization. Now next is you have your single use plans or ad hoc plans. Your single use plans are basically those plans which are used only for a particular situation. They cannot be used again and again for a similar matter. Suppose this is a particular pen and it has got lost in the organization. To find this particular pen, you will have to make a particular plan. So this can be used only for the pen, right? You cannot use it for any other purpose. So it is not repetitive. This was an example. So whatever your single use plan is, your single use plan can be used only once a time. It cannot be used again and again based on the particular situation. Next, under your single use plan includes your program, project and budget. Okay, under your program, your program is nothing but it is a precise plan. Now, your precise plan is something in which you are, laying down all the operations. You are involving all the information regarding what is the operation that is going to be carried out, how you're going to accomplish that particular operation. Okay, it involves all the activities which are necessary to achieve a particular objective, and also how the organization overall objective will be achieved. Okay, your program is a precise plan. After which you have your definition of program. Now, according to the definition of program, according to Coons O'Donnell, they say program are complexes of goals, policies, procedures, rules, task, assignment, and steps to be taken. Okay, it is basically a combination. They are telling it is a combination of goals, policies, procedures, rules, a task assignment, steps to be taken. Okay, all of these brought in together to carry out a particular action in order to achieve a particular goal or achieve a particular action. That is what Coons O'Donnell is saying. Now, program, when you talk about program is a whole, right? And it is a combination of all of these things in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. Next, you have characteristics of program. What are the characteristics of program? Is nothing but, see, program is something which is a single use comprehensive plan. Once a particular, suppose you have a particular program means what? It is an event. Okay, suppose you have a particular event that is only single use. You cannot keep on keeping that event similarly again and again, right? It is not repetitive. So, a program is single-use comprehensive plan. It is formed to achieve a particular purpose only. Once goal is achieved, program will not be used again. Okay, once you achieve that particular goal, you will not use that particular program again. Now, number of plans are prepared to formulate program. The program for increasing sales by 20% may be required. Okay, basically, your program could be for various things. It could be to increase sales. It could be to increase profits, to increase marketing, to bring down your cost, everything. It could be anything. Okay, now a program is prepared to achieve organization goals. It gives a time limit up to which program is implemented. A strict timetable is fixed in doing a particular task. A program should ensure coordinating planning efforts. Okay, when you are coordinating a particular program, you should have coordinating planning efforts. Each and every individual should put on their particular efforts, and you should coordinate effectively. Next is advantages of program. Advantage of program is nothing but it will help you in achieving the objective goals of the organization. It will help you in smooth implementation of plans. It will help you in better coordination of the organization. The policies, procedures, rules, budgets would be in proper order because of the program. Okay, all of these will be in order. Okay, all of these will go in order. The next programs are action oriented and improve motivation to employees. Okay, when you have a particular program, you will be able to motivate the employees in the particular organization. Next is limitations. Limitation is basically program should be carefully framed. If you are not framing that particular program carefully, then it leads to failure. Okay. The next is it requires it requires coordination. Now, if there is no proper coordination, again it will lead to failure of the particular program. Okay, if it is not coordinated properly. After which the major programs have number of sub-programs. Okay, as all the sub-programs should be successfully carried out for completing the main program. Now, what happens if those sub-programs are not carried out effectively? Then it leads to failure of the main program itself. So this is a failure. So your next topic is budget. Now, what is budget? Budget is a monetary requirement. Okay, it is basically how effectively you maintain the budget of the organization in order to carry out your day-to-day policies and procedures and the operations of the particular organization. Now, the term budgeting is used for preparing budget and other procedure for planning, coordination, and control of business enterprise. Okay. Now, you have definition of budget. Now, according to Institute of Cost and Works Accountant London, a budget is a financial statement. Now, in a financial statement, it is basically a financial as well as quantitative statement which is prepared prior to a defined period of time. The policy of pursued during that particular period only for attaining the organization objectives. Okay, your budget is your financial statement as well as your quantitative statement, which is basically prepared in order to achieve a particular goals of the organization or objectives of the organization at a particular period of time. Okay. Next, you have characteristics of budget. Characteristics of budget is nothing but your budget should be calculated on your past figures, that is historical figures based on the accounts and profit and loss balance sheet. The possible future should also be taken into account. Basically, you need to take your past figures and also your future into consideration. It should be flexible so that any necessary changes should be, if any necessary changes are to be done, it should be easy and flexible, because when it is rigid, you cannot make necessary changes. It becomes very difficult. Okay. Now, the persons at various levels should be involved in preparing budget. This will help in getting willing cooperation of everybody while implementing the budget. Okay. Now, a budget should be specific statement. The quantities or monetary information should be clearly mentioned in the budget. Whatever information is there, it should be clearly mentioned in the budget. Now, need for preparing a budget. Why do you have a need for preparing a budget? Because budget requires a formulating future policies. They require coordination and cooperation amongst various departments, that is finance, HR, any marketing department. Then budget acts as a tool of control in the hands of management, because once you fix a particular budget, you will know as to how much amount you have. Based on that particular capital, you will be able to distribute the amount for various departments in order to carry out their particular operations without any hindrance. Okay. Now, budget are also motivation for various employees, because it will help because they will know as to how much amount is available, and they will be able to carry out their particular operations effectively without any hindrances. Next is your classification or types of budget. Now, your types of budget or classification of budget. Firstly, classification of budget. This is a particular chart. Classification of budget. Classification of budget as to time, as to nature, as to their content, and as to their functional aspects. Now, these are again subdivided into various things. Okay, this is the particular chart that you need to draw before you are writing the particular answer. Okay. Now, to begin with, your classification of budget according to time, it is your long-term budget. Okay, long-term budgets are nothing but you are preparing this particular budget for a long-term period planning. Okay, it is basically this is usually done by the top management and not by the lower level management. Okay, whatever decisions are taken, it is basically implemented, taken by the top management and implemented by the lower level management. This is your long-term budget for your long-term financing. It could be for a period of 5 to 10 years. Okay, if the company has to survive for 5 to 10 years, then you will take a long-term budget. Now, next is your short-term budget. What is short-term? Short-term is basically for a particular period. Now, suppose your company is established only for a 2-year period of time. You have some objective or a particular project to do. Then you will come up with a short-term period of short-term budget, that is for a period of 2 years. Okay, which is in the form of monetary terms. For industries like sugar, cotton, textile, etc., which are using short-term budgets. Next is your current budgets. Current budget is nothing but it is a budget which you are preparing for every month and every week. Okay, this budget basically is current budget is nothing but it is again a short period budget which is requiring to current conditions. Suppose if you get an immediate order and you have to produce suppose you have to produce 10 to 15 cartons of pencils, then you will immediately come up with a particular budget, current budget, and then you will see, and based on that you will carry out your production. So that is immediate. Okay, based on the emergency situations for a short-term period of time. Next is classification based on the basis of function. Now, on the basis of function, you have functional budgets and subsidiary budgets. Now, functional and subsidiary, the budgets are related to different functions. The number of these budgets depend upon the size and nature of businesses. The commonly used functions are, it could be sales budget, purchase budget, cash budget, and finance budget. Okay, now you're classifying your budget based on the different aspect. Okay, based on these particular things, how you fix your necessary budget. Next is your master budget. We already saw why master budget is prepared. Your master budget is nothing but it is for a particular period, how you actually try to achieve a particular goal or objective, how you master yourself in order to achieve a greater market share, and how effectively you come up with a particular budget. Next is classification of budget on basis of flexibility. On basis of flexibility, you have fixed and flexible. Fixed budget is something that a particular amount will be fixed. Okay, a fixed amount will be there. That is, suppose for the month of April, the budget will be prepared. For every month, this particular amount will be fixed. Flexible is nothing but based on the amount of profits, based on the amount of capital you have. It can be varied, and necessary flexible budget can be prepared wherein you can make necessary changes. Okay, so these were the classification of and types of budget. Now advantages of budgeting. Now why is budgeting so important? Because it will help you in improving the efficiency. Then you will have proper coordination. Economy is basically the, you know, you will be there will be effective utilization of resources, and you will be able to carry out operation on a day-to-day use, and there will be optimum use of resources. Next is consciousness amongst employees, because the employees will not lead to they will know as to how much amount they have to spend. They will not overspend or underspend. Okay, they will know as to how much amount is available and how much amount they are supposed to use and spend. Next is time bound. Time bound is basically for a particular period of time how much amount is available with them and how much amount they can spend and how they can achieve the particular objectives. Okay, next you have next topic, that is approaches to planning. Now there are four possible approaches to planning. That is reactive, which is past oriented; inactive, that is present oriented; preactive, that is predict to future; and proactive, that is create the future. To begin with your approaches, your first one is the reactive past oriented approach. The past oriented approach is nothing but the past experiences that have happened in a particular organization, whether it is good or whether it is bad. Okay, your past experiences will tell you as to how effectively you need to plan for your future activities. Okay, and also how you need to turn your good old days, and how you need to you need to take into consideration your past decisions as to in order to improve your future decisions. Next is inactive, that is present oriented. Present oriented is nothing but wherein you take into consideration your past as well as your present, okay, in order to solve a particular problem. Wherein if in present, if you have a same problem which is incurred, refer back to your past to see if you have the same problem which had occurred earlier. Okay, if you have solutions to the particular problem, you can implement the same solutions, or you can bring about new changes in the particular solutions to the problems that have occurred. Next is preactive or predict the future. Is basically take into consideration your external and your internal factors. Possibly what are the factors that could actually affect the working of the company. Your example, your technology wherein the continuously updation of technology, wherein okay, so how effectively you're going to plan in order to implement these particular changes. Okay, next is proactive, that is create the future. Proactive is nothing but it is in a way you're designing the future of the particular company, how you want to go about your expansion, your diversification. Okay, you how you'll go about earning profits, and how you'll go about acquiring greater market share. Okay, here you're not only taking into your past, present, and you're predict the future, but you're also creating the future when you're deciding on the plans and activities as to where you want to see your company in the next 5 years or something like that. Okay, that is proactive. Next, you have advantages of planning. Now what will happen when you plan effectively? First of all, planning is one of the most crucial functions of the management, which is one of the most important functions of the management. While you've planned, you will get a proper direction as to how you need to achieve your goals and objectives. Okay, now these are the advantages of planning. These are the reasons why you have to plan. Firstly, attention on objective. Okay, basically when you plan, you will know what your objective is and how you have to achieve it. You will not keep moving your mind from here and there. Next is minimizing uncertainties. When you're planning, you take into mind your consideration, like your external factors, your internal factors, all the information you take into consideration, and only then you plan. So in that way, you're minimizing all the uncertainties. Better utilization of resources. How effectively can you use the resources without any wastage of resources? So which will lead to economy of operations, basically wherein you can carry out your day-to-day operations effectively without any stoppage, because you've planned very effectively with your necessary budget, and you're keeping in mind your various factors that could affect and all of that. Okay, next is your better coordination. Your better coordination is nothing but how effectively are you going to coordinate your various departments, and how you're going to plan your coordinate your policies, programs, procedures, and all of these things in order to carry out your effective planning. Next is encourages innovation and creativity. Planning will encourage innovation and encourage. How creative can you be, and how nicely can you go about planning, and how you can take into consideration more of the activities in order to plan effectively. Okay, next you have facilitates control. Yes, it facilitates control because you will have a control on various aspects, that is your internal control, your external control. Okay, external control is not possible, but to an extent you can control. You can also have a control on your budgets, on your financial decisions, and your cost, whatever is actually going to be included. Okay, then next is management by exception. If possible, management is nothing but management is in global function, right? How effectively you're going to manage things, how you're going to fix your prices, how you're going to fix your objectives. Okay, how basically it helps you in automatically achieving the goals and objectives. Next is it facilitates delegation. What happens when it facilitates delegation is basically when you plan, you will be able to delegate authority. Okay, when you're delegating authority, you will be selecting the right person for the right job and getting things done effectively through the people who are effectively appointed for that particular position. Next, you have disadvantages of planning. Now, what happens while you're what are the disadvantages? Lack of accuracy. Why is there a lack of accuracy? Is basically you take into consideration of future events a lot, okay, which are very uncertain. You only tend to predict the future events, which becomes very difficult because you're not sure if that particular thing can happen in future or not happen in future. So there is lack of accuracy. Then cost. For planning, you incur a little more cost, which becomes time consuming and waste. If you're not going to plan effectively, then your entire cost goes for a waste. Okay, then next is adverse effect on decision. Adverse effect on decision is nothing but basically how badly is the particular thing going to affect on the decisions if you're not going to plan effectively. Next is delay in action. Delay in action is basically if you've planned but you're delaying in actually implementing it and actually achieving your goals and objectives, then it'll lead to a failure of planning. Psychological barrier. Psychological barrier is nothing but what could be the possible thing which could be a barrier for your planning. Okay, next is your limited flexibility. If the plan is not flexible, you cannot make necessary changes. Then human element, your human resources as to what are the necessary information or anything which basically could create problems. Okay, next is limited practical value. Limited practical value is basically whether that particular plan could actually be implemented in your practical sense or not. Then you have your improper planning. Improper planning is nothing but the name itself suggests that you do not have a proper planning which is done for achieving the objective. Planning is time consuming and a costly process. Yes, it is time consuming and a costly process because it involves a lot of human resource and a lot of resources, other resources also. Okay, planning is a forward looking process. Yes, because they don't take into consideration your past events or anything as such. So when you're considering too much of your future event, then you tend to make errors because it is completely your prediction. Okay, based on your prediction. Resistance to change is another important factor. If you are in case if you're planning but you are not resisting to change, in case if you're not able to adapt towards your changes, your plan is not very flexible, then it puts a limit on planning. Psychological factor also limits the scope of planning. Your psychological factors like your gender or anything as such, your motivation, okay, all of these factors could also be a barrier. Then the effectiveness of planning is sometimes limited. Effectiveness of planning is limited because if the planning is not done in a stepwise and a proper manner, then the effectiveness reduces, because of which the planning effectiveness limits itself and becomes a disadvantage, and it becomes very difficult to execute those particular plans because it is beyond the control of the management because of the various factors also which will influence the changing in the plans.